Hello, my name is Tracy Weisman, an artist participating in the exhibition Unseen, which highlights the lives of North Korean women. My piece is entitled Princess Bari. Let me tell you about it. My concept is rooted in my love of storytelling and mythology. When I was a young girl, I was an avid reader and had a paperback copy of a book called Hercules and Other Greek Myths. I read it so often, the cover fell off. I was fascinated by the allegorical power of those ancient tales to express deeper truths about human nature and morality. And I loved how they worked on multiple levels, as narrative, as cultural memory, and as philosophical metaphor. For me, myths are the perfect stories. When conceiving my work for Unseen, I explored Korean mythology for inspiration and discovered the tale of Baradegi, which means abandoned baby. She was the seventh daughter of a royal couple who, disappointed not to have a son, abandoned her at birth. Raised by a couple in a distant land, Princess Bari learns that her birth father is dying from a mysterious illness. Despite being cast off by her family, she descends into the underworld to retrieve the water of life that will cure her father. Like Hercules, Princess Bari survives a series of grueling trials, and she succeeds in her mission to cure her father. Ultimately, she becomes a goddess. Her story is one of exile, perseverance, and transformation, an origin myth of grief transmuted into power. My piece for Unseen, therefore, imagines North Korean women as Princess Bari, women who endure unimaginable horrors and transform through their suffering. In my piece, a female form becomes a reclamation of feminine worth and beauty, reminding us that endurance is its own kind of divinity. Like Princess Bari, the unseen women of North Korea have disappeared in a sense, but their stories hold the power to indict, inspire, and heal. The primary decorative material in Princess Bari is a huge collection of vintage silk millinery flowers from France. I've been collecting them for years. They're quite special to me, and I wanted to wait until I had a powerful work in mind before using them. The flowers were made to decorate women's hats in the early 20th century, but sadly, that never happened. Instead, they languished in boxes for decades, many with their handwritten price tags still attached. But these fragile, crushed, and faded objects, unseen until now, are still immensely beautiful, and when they come together to adorn a female form, become even more so. Therefore, my materials connect to the unseen women of North Korea in three ways. First, they remind us it's wrong to assume that fragility implies a lack of strength. Second, it's never too late to achieve a life of dignity and purpose. And finally, there is beauty and power in the acts of aggregation and collaboration. Together, the many can achieve so much more than the few. Reclaiming discarded or forgotten objects like these flowers is fundamental to my art practice, which, like my love of myths, also comes from childhood. I developed a love of thrifting and antiquing from my mom. She and I would go to resale and antique stores and hunt around for bargains. It took patience and an imaginative eye to find things, and I remember feeling triumphant when we found a treasure or two. Yankee ingenuity was also part of my upbringing as a New Englander with grandparents who'd survived the Great Depression. Upcycling is just a fancy new term for not being wasteful, like my grandma's collection of used rubber bands, produce bags, and wire twisties. Thrift and the ability to fix things was encouraged and respected in my family, as was finding a clever new use for a worn-out object. So, reviving things is definitely in my DNA. I seek out objects that have narrative energy to them. It sounds a little weird, but I do hear them speak to me. It may take years before I use something I've collected, but when it's right, it's like a jolt of electricity. I felt that with my flower collection when invited to participate in Unseen. Connecting the right object to the right message, there's nothing more satisfying than that. Working with these flowers is emotionally and technically challenging. On the emotional side, I'm conscious of being the first person to handle them in nearly 100 years. This must be done with a reverent spirit, as if welcoming an elder I haven't seen for a very long time, and commenting not on her appearance, but on the joy of our reunion. The flower's fragility means they must be handled with great care. While I have the skill to freshen them up, that would be like telling Grandma she needs Botox. Instead, I embrace the creases and wrinkles that tell the stories of her life. As I'm making this video, I'm still working out the technicalities of covering my mannequin with the flowers. I need to find a solution that both protects the fragile material and creates a piece that's durable enough to ship and display. I'll be doing some studies to explore affixing the flowers directly to the form. If that doesn't work, I'll make a garment of some sort and affix the flowers to that. There's a physical challenge too. With so many pieces to apply, I need a fabrication technique that doesn't cause a repetitive stress injury, something I'm prone to and that many artists encounter on a regular basis. These are the problems to solve before I can confidently begin construction. In our digital age, and with the growth of AI, there are very few things we cannot see. But one exception is what goes on in totalitarian regimes. When you encounter Princess Bari and the other works in this exhibition, I hope the unseen women of North Korea become more real in your mind. And finally, I hope that Unseen reminds us that the tools of a dictator, pervasive surveillance, arbitrary arrests and detention, punishments for political and social offenses, and human rights abuses are not unique to North Korea. Democracy is a fragile, living experiment. And today more than ever, its survival demands our constant vigilance and fiercest protection. Thanks so much for watching my video, and enjoy Unseen.